Well, hey, and welcome everybody. Glad you joined in for this Fireside chat. Got another special edition, got a special guest with me, and I can't wait to get started with everything we've got going on. So again, thanks for joining in. I'm glad you're here with us. Now, we've got always a chance for you to ask some questions of our guest. So I'll introduce him in just a second, or I'll let him introduce himself. But many of you know him. But just a quick reminder, in the comments section on our social media platform, just go ahead and put any kind of questions that you have, anything you're curious about. Now, we'll get to a few disclaimers about questions in a moment, but just a quick reminder, you can post some questions. We'll do our best to answer them as best we can. So without further ado, I want to introduce my special guest. He's number 72 in your program, but number 1 in your heart, Mr. Kent Chevalier.
Hey,
Kent.
what's up, Dave? Hi, everybody. Great to be with all of you tonight, man. Thanks for joining in. It's so fun to be able to do this with you, man. Thank you. When you said 72, I thought you were going eligible. Number 72, Zach Banner.
I should have said that.
Eligible. That was good.
That's good. That's good. It was just random happenstance, but
there it is.
It worked. So many of you know Kent is a pastor on staff here at Northway, and he is also the chaplain for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we've got some special content we're going to get to in a little bit. But Kent, how's it been? I mean, You've been on stage, you've preached, you've hosted services, but a good bit of the fall, I mean, you were engaged heavily with the Steelers. How's it going?
Yeah.
What's going on? What's it been like? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. To become a local missionary with Athletes in
Good way of
Action.
putting it, yeah.
Has been an incredible ride for Erica and me. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm the chaplain to all the guys of the Steelers organization. The way that we see it is not just players, it's coaches, it's also front office, and I'm the chaplain to all the guys. And Erica is the chaplain to all the ladies of the organization. And so we've been loving it. It's been an adventure.
That's
I would
awesome.
have never dreamed that I would have this opportunity to become the Steelers chaplain. I mean, growing up a fan my entire life,
Now,
growing
wait,
up in Pittsburgh.
You mentioned you were a Browns fan growing up. Is that correct?
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
So this is like God making a dream come true.
Yeah.
Ministry with the team you love, doing discipleship, which is, it's like woven into the fabric of who you are.
Absolutely.
Just amazing opportunity. So
Yeah.
You're in the city of Pittsburgh, right? Everybody loves the Steelers.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've been asked from fans? Like, given your role that you,
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm sure you've had some awkward.
Besides the autographs, can you get this person to come to my church and speak? Can you, probably this is the funniest one. Like, I have inside information. It's hilarious. I've been asked, so when's Ben coming back? Right? When is he? Like I know any of that stuff. So I read the articles just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm the chaplain of the team. I don't have inside information.
So you aren't picking who we draft tonight for the Steelers?
Oh, no, I'm in on that.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so a couple of disclaimers. We talked about this a little bit. Kent wants to honor the relationships that he has, and it's important to be a part of the Steelers and a part of the church. So there are some questions that we're not going to field those kind of questions. So questions like
insider information,
right?
Right. What is this person like? In the locker room, those types of things. What's your relationship with the coaches and those kind of things. Because what's important for them, the coaches and the players, to know is that I'm a vault. I'm not going to share information like that. Super important for our ministry.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here. I love that you're a part of Northway. You're connected to the Steelers. I just think, I'm like tickled sillies that you get to experience this.
I know, man. You and I growing up together.
I know.
And then
Here we are.
You're lead pastor of Northway now. I'm the chaplain. I can't believe it, man.
Yeah. Kent and I go way back into high school. We played baseball against each other. We had similar friends groups, and we went to Geneva together.
That's right.
So pretty cool how God brings things back together. So as far as speaking of bringing things back together, you had a conversation with Cam Hayward.
Yeah.
And Cam's a special guy. He's a guy that goes to Northway, right?
Yeah,
He's one of our favorites, of course.
Yeah.
You had a cool conversation with him, and we captured it. And that's what we're gonna show that for content today, and then we're gonna circle back with Kent. So do you want to set this up at all? Do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing?
So the last several weeks in the middle of this COVID-19 thing, man, how can I leverage the platform that God has given me to share hope uniquely, right? And so what I did is I started doing these Instagram lives with some different players, and I've created a series now of these conversations where I've titled them Real Pro Talk, right? So I want this to be about authentic conversations with these guys because they're real people, man.
Right.
You know, and so I want to talk about their journey of faith and journey to the NFL and some of the adversity that they've hit and how we might be able to relate to those things. And so I started it. I've done 3 of these in this series, and then I've got more planned in the future, trying to do them every week to give these guys a platform in the middle of this online to share hope with everybody.
Awesome, because we all have a platform, right? And figuring out how to leverage it, especially in times like this, it's a key step. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. So here's the deal. You can post questions that you have. I'm going to be monitoring those. When we finish this video, Kent and I are going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit live, answering a couple of your questions. And then we're also going to talk about that platform concept. But without further ado, we're going to throw to this interview that Kent did last night. We're going to watch it now as a part of our Fireside Chat with Cam Hayward. So why don't you check this out?
What's up, bro? Good to see you, man. I'm going to turn these comments off so we can see your beautiful beard. So good to see you. All right, man. So, dude, let's get right to it, man.
All right, let's do it.
How's your family doing during COVID-19 quarantine, man?
They are great. My kids are upstairs watching the movie Baby's Day Out.
All right.
But we're getting into a routine, and everybody's doing pretty good.
Dude, tell everybody about your family. You got Allie, your wife, and then
Allie, my wife. And then my 3 kids, Callan, who's 4, Kaya, who's 2. I mean, Chloe, who's 2, and then Kaya, who's almost 9 months.
Dude, once you get 3 kids, it's hard to remember,
It's crazy. Sometimes I catch myself, I'm trying to figure out which one I was mad at. But it's all a big blur sometimes.
Got it, man. Well, dude, this is great. Thanks for hanging out tonight. I've titled these things after a while. I started doing a couple of these. Did first one with Ryan Switzer, then with Trey last week. Now I've titled them Real Pro Talk because I want this to be like authentic talk from a pro, man. So thanks.
Well, it's crazy because like you would do these during the season with like players and like they would speak. So I'm hoping this one counts as my turn to talk.
Oh, no, man. You'll be up for Chapel this year. Right. You'll be up.
Okay.
So, but thanks, man. So what's cool about our relationship, man, is that I was actually your pastor before I became the chaplain. This is my first year as an NFL chaplain with Athletes in Action. And so you and I were together a part of a great church, Northway Christian Community. So shout out to Northway.
Yes,
what's up,
shout out to Northway.
Right across
Everybody
the
stay
street.
tuned for sermon on Sunday.
That's right. That's it. Yeah, we're in a great series, asking for a friend. The questions, the hard questions that you really want to ask for yourself, but you ask for a friend.
Yes.
So, but so we've been friends for a while, part of Northway, and so what I would love to do, man, is just maybe lob some questions at you, because what I really started this for was to bring some hope to people in the middle of this quarantine. Give people something to look forward to in the middle of all of this. So, I'll set it up this way because I want you to just simply talk here for a little bit. Nobody's interested in hearing me. They want to hear your story. So, dude, everybody has a journey of life. And so I'm going to have a theme in tonight's Real Pro Talk with you about a journey. And so tell me about your journey to the NFL. Being that this is draft week, the draft is tomorrow night. Tell me from high school to college to being drafted by the Steelers. What was it like for you?
Hopefully I can write a movie about this one day because it gets pretty good. So I was born in Pittsburgh, grew up here until I was about 5 or 6, then moved around because my dad played in the league. He played for the Falcons, Saints, Rams, Colts, Bears, and that's it, I think.
Right.
But
that's a lot of moving around.
It is. We traveled around early on. I remember telling my mom one time, I finally made friends in Atlanta. I want to stay here. So we eventually stayed in Atlanta. I grew up there. Everybody knows about my dad. He's a legend in Pittsburgh.
Sure is, man.
There's plenty of stories to go around with that. But
You're gonna wait. Don't, because we're gonna talk about your dad a little bit. I can't wait
right.
for everybody to know how
Okay.
he came to the nickname Ironhead Hayward. So
Okay. Okay. We'll get to that part.
all right.
But we moved around. My dad had to retire from the NFL um, uh, due to a brain tumor, which they removed safely. And so he was blind in his right eye after that. And we got to spend a lot more years together. Before my senior year, well, before my junior year, my dad suffered a stroke, and we found out that he had the tumor came back. Okay. So through that, he lost all feeling on his right side and was in a wheelchair. But if you know my dad never likes anyone to feel sorry for him.
Sure.
So his goal from then on was to make sure he was able to walk on my senior night. Okay. Obviously, he didn't get to do it. He passed away before my senior year in high school. My mom had to rely on God to muster the strength to even tell me, because I was away at a basketball game, and she had to share that information with me, which is, I don't know how she did it.
Yeah. Charlotte's watching right now. What's up, Charlotte?
Hi, Mom. Losing your dad before your senior year in high school and having to pick what school you want to go to play football or any sport, but really football, where my dad had played. It was a big shock for me, becoming the man of the house, having two younger brothers. It was tough for me. We all had to rally together. I can remember moments in my room where, it was just quiet, and I didn't know how to experience losing your father, losing someone you love so much. Yeah. But through that, I gave it all to God. It wasn't me just saying it and doing everything. It was me just in intimate moments where I had to come to Him and just put everything to Him. It's funny how my life turned out, because I feel like at every moment my dad was there, step with God.
Yeah. Your dad's like on the balcony of heaven saying, "Son, you need to do this."
Right. He was there, because it's funny how I got to Ohio State. I never took an official visit there. Me and my mom went to Ohio State as an unofficial. It was a 1-2 game, Ohio State versus Michigan. Okay. And Mom was like, "Why are we going?" And by the end of the trip, we were like, "Okay, I got to go here."
Right.
And ending up there at Ohio State with Coach Tressel, the thing I loved about Coach Tress was, it wasn't just the player you were. He was worried about the student you were, the person you were. Do you have a relationship with God? Every day we would spend 15 minutes before our day even started having quiet time, reflecting on, different quotes and different passages, which was huge for us. I don't think many coaches do that now.
Sure.
And then that all culminated to me being drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Dude, what was that like?
I got hurt in my last game in the Sugar Bowl, and to get hurt but still play the entire game, I'm thinking, okay, I'll be fine. First week after the Sugar Bowl, I'm going to go train again, and I find out I tore my UCL in my elbow. It's this one.
But, you got so many injuries at this point.
Yeah, all the way down. I tore everything in my elbow. I had to get Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
So after that, I'm a wreck. Like, I don't know where I'm going to get picked. And you get to the day of the draft, and I'm totally healthy, nothing's wrong, but you just don't know what's going to happen. Sure. And that night, I never thought in a million years I would end up with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And seeing 412 go across the screen is just like nuts. Because we know 412. Like if you
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
412 and you're in Pittsburgh, you're nuts.
yeah.
But we
Were your grandparents there? Your mom there?
everybody was there. I invited everybody at my house, and
Nice.
my grandparents didn't even think. My grandparents were big Steeler fans before I was even born.
Sure,
My mom was a big Steeler fan growing up, so um, you know, to know that that happened, that didn't just happen by luck. Like
sure.
God and my dad were working hand in hand trying to get this thing going. But you the story I'm having, man. I,
Yeah,
like
no
I
joke.
told you this earlier. Like God has been my producer, my director. He's the sound man, the stage man, whatever he
Yeah.
is everything. But like, uh, I couldn't have asked for to be as blessed as I am.
Dude, I love it. I love to hear your story, man. The journey to the NFL. Each story is so unique. Like when you pull back and you see a bunch of people getting into the NFL, it seems like that story is the same. But man,
Yeah.
each unique story has been incredible, and I know that that's true about our faith as well. So
Mhm.
tell me about your faith journey, and maybe a second question of that is how has that impacted your life and your game even?
Right. Um, my faith journey. I was a kid who was always a knucklehead growing up. I think as I was young, me and my brothers, we would, oh, we're going to church. I'm tired. I don't want to go. But I think my journey. I think it started more in college. Um, becoming my own person and being able to connect with God on a different level because it was my choice.
Yeah,
And I think I've had to, we're all sinners, and I've had to pledge you know, my love and my support for God and submit to Him many times. It hasn't just been once.
yeah,
You know, I can think back to when my dad died. I had to submit then. When I had my children, I finally had my children this year. We actually did my baptism this past year in October. But
yeah,
because I thought now that I've grown as a man, I needed to do that, and I needed to have that. I needed to show God that I wasn't prideful in that, and that it's funny because like I texted my mom that day, and I was texting my wife, and my wife's like, wait, what? What just happened? And like, I'm like, yeah, I just had my baptism in a pool at the hotel.
yes,
Uh, and to see all those guys who came was just, man, that's a moment I'll never forget because the support and love I shared with that was unbelievable. My brothers were there, and like, my mom was literally in tears on the phone, uh, and like she was just like astounded because she was like this is a moment she can look back and say like my son is went to Christ and like submitted to him, and you look for those moments in your life, and I think mine just stick out more than anybody's.
yeah, yeah. Dude, I have several favorite moments with you this past season, and that takes the cake, man. We
Yeah,
were we were at New England, first game of the season,
right.
and I had just preached on Jesus being baptized
Yeah.
and how we should follow in his example. And boom, you in chapel were like, dude, I'm in. And
Well, it's like I think I said I was in, but then like you sent that text out, and I'm like, this is hitting home. I got to do this. Like, so like literally, what was it? That next morning,
yeah,
everybody was in there in this little pool. It was surrounded. We had coaches and players, man.
yeah,
It was almost like I hate to compare it to a wedding, but like walking through, it just felt like everybody was around you.
yeah, staring at you. It was great,
Yeah,
dude. And I must say, because I'll let the other guy that I baptized that day, I'll let him tell that story. But
yeah.
you were probably you are the largest man I've ever baptized in my life.
Well, I'm glad we kind of did it in the pool because now I think about it, if we had done it at church,
Yeah,
it could have gotten way worse.
I would have like hit your head on the hot tub. Yeah.
Could you imagine like Scott going to speak after that and like
I
having
know.
like this big puddle all
Yeah.
over the stage?
That's good, man. I absolutely love it. I love the line that you said when we talked earlier. that if my life were a movie, God would be my producer.
Mm.
And then you talked about several moments throughout your life where you have had to surrender. And I would say it this way, to walk the Christian life that is modeled after Jesus, we see Jesus surrender his life to God the Father. He does whatever God the Father tells him to do, all the way to the point of dying on a cross for the forgiveness of your sins and mine and everybody who's listening. He did it because he loves us, but because he was obedient and surrendered, submitted to his Father in heaven to do that for us. And so you're modeling for everybody out here what that submission looks like. I mean, when you think about the symbolism of baptism alone, when people go down into that water, they are down in Jesus' death. When they come up out of the water, they are celebrating the life resurrection that he has given to us, that we just celebrated on Easter, right?
Right.
And so you did that in front of your brothers. And I appreciated that about you. Now, let me turn a corner here,
Okay.
because I've had several fun moments. Being this
Right.
is my first year as a chaplain and trying to figure this out, lined up with athletes in action and learning how to be an NFL chaplain. Dude, I've just been sort of sitting back and watching and watching you and some of the other guys in their faith journey and all this. But there's some behind the scenes stuff, dude, that I noticed the one day that you were going around the locker room, dabbing something on people's fingers. You had, what I figured out was peppermint oil, and then guys
What did
were
you think it was the whole time?
yeah, guys were putting it underneath, and it makes you breathe clearly, right?
Yes.
So I had no clue what it was, but I let you put it on my finger. And I was like, okay, I see everybody else doing this. Well, dude, once we got out to the sidelines, I remember I must have forgot that I had the peppermint stuff. And I went like this.
Oh.
And dude, I mean, I was crying on the sideline. My tears were coming down. People were like, "Are you okay, PK?" And I'm like, "Peppermint, man. I got peppermint in my eyes."
I did not know this.
Oh, dude, that is one of my favorite stories. Just behind the scenes stuff. It's so funny. Another thing that is a favorite for me behind the scenes that nobody would know, and maybe I'll just put this out there. You, every time that of a game,
Right.
the team gathers for prayer, and then you pull the D line and you say, "Hey, D line, whoever wants some," and we all kneel and we pray.
Right.
And I don't pray for a win. I pray for you guys to play at the highest level.
Yeah.
I pray for you guys not to play for the name on the back of your jersey, but I pray for that you would play for the audience of one, for God's glory, not your own. And then I, pray something like, go out there and smash some heads, right? So I love it, man, that you do that every week. And so let me transition here. And I want to talk about your dad a little bit. So we've talked about your journey to the NFL, talked about your journey of faith. Now, every one of us, our journeys at certain points in our life, and maybe if you're watching and you can completely resonate with this, especially during COVID-19, sometimes the journey of life gets really hard. And we all go through seasons that are very difficult. And so would you just maybe talk about your dad, Craig Ironhead Hayward, before we get into, his death?
Yeah.
Why the nickname Ironhead?
Well, it goes all the way back to when he was a kid. He got a pool cue snapped on his head at a Boys and Girls Club. And he got on Boys and Girls Club, by the way.
Like a pool cue over the head.
Yes.
Man.
And he went home and told my grandmother, and my grandmother started calling him Ironhead. And it just stuck from there on. And then he just started cracking heads on the field.
Oh, man, I love it. I love it. Did you ever get Ironhead when you were growing up?
No, I've gotten baby Ironhead, and some people call me Head because I got a big head, but,
Gotcha.
tried to stay away from it as much as possible.
Got it. So, all right. So your dad, this is your senior year. This is 2006, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he dies from cancer, dude. So you're what, 17 years old there?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did that impact you, your faith journey, your life?
Man, uh, uh, I think it impacted me way differently than I ever thought. You know, it's in those tough moments where you find out, who's there for you and who you need to go to. And I had everybody there for me, but I needed to go to God. Um, you know, to meet my wife, my freshman year, first day in the dorms. Um, having those moments like where my dad passed me and my wife, um, they're not by accident. And my dad was a big part of my life. He was my best friend, and for me to lose someone like that, it can be depressing. It wasn't something I, like talked about openly a lot. I would say
Sure.
when it first happened. Um, I would say I was mostly quiet and I was pretty standoffish. And if as I got to Ohio State, I didn't know what to expect. But then I met my wife my freshman year, and you know, uh, you know,
And Allie's amazing, man.
yeah. I always think about like when a lot of people say like Jesus take the wheel, like I was in the back seat, buckled up because
Yeah.
I had no control over what was going on.
That's all. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just, it was tough, and I know these moments are tough, and, I'm not saying it's the ultimate fix, but, God's got a plan, and, it's not always going to share it with you. He's going to let you walk through it. And, one thing my mom always has told me, and patience is a virtue, and it stuck with me. Like if I had tattoos, that'd be the first tattoo I ever got. But I have no tattoos.
Yeah.
But along with that was, God never puts you through things He doesn't think you can overcome. And
Gotcha.
through that, it helped me and it centered me to know that, God's got my back. I can still go through this. It might be tough. It might be rough. Um, it might be something I'm not comfortable with, but God's got a plan for me.
Yeah. Dude, and Jesus is the one who said, man, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I've overcome the world. And I know that's where your faith is in him, the rock, that way. So dude, I can't imagine being a 17-year-old kid, trying to navigate the loss of your hero, and how much that's impacted you. But I think, man, what I've seen in you, um, is that has made you a better husband and a better father.
Yeah.
I watch the way, I observe a lot, and I watch how you interact with Allie. You love her deeply, and you do it extremely well. You love your kids extremely well. I see the moments that you don't put out on Instagram or on Twitter, with your kids, and you're the same. You're a good dad to them, and I just appreciate that about you. So I wish that I would have gotten to know your dad a little bit, because if you are anything like him, man, he was a great man. So appreciate that
He was the best.
about you.
I was pretty fortunate to have the dad I have, and just trying to make him and God proud.
Yeah. So we often learn from the people who are in our circles of influence of how to operate in life. And so you must have had a lot of people around you who taught you how to give back to the community around you. And so I want to transition here. A part of your journey is that you started a foundation, the Cameron Hayward Foundation, better known maybe to those that are out there as the Hayward House, right? And so when and why did you start the Hayward House? Tell us about that a little bit. And what do you guys do?
Yeah. We started about over 5 years ago. I think coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers, you see the way we're involved in the community. Seeing the guys like Brett Kiesel and Troy Polamalu and Aaron Smith, they all wanted to give back. And my mom's always been on me about giving back. I think from a young age, we always, we were always pretty fortunate and pretty blessed. but she always wanted to give back. So just because I was in the NFL didn't make anything different. So,
Yeah.
We work directly with youth at risk. We work with the Brain Tumor Association. We work with the Asthma Institute through Children's Hospital. We've worked with a lot of nonprofits around the youth. We've done some really cool things these past couple of years. Whether it's the birthday club, where we celebrated kids' birthdays at like a Dave and Buster's, and
Nice.
we got them like a big cake, and we got library cards from Carnegie Mellon, Carnegie Library.
Sure.
We've done some really awesome things: backpack drives, shoe drives. Man, I've been pretty blessed to head this foundation, but
I love it.
It's awesome. We've been trying to get stuff together through the Pittsburgh Emergency Action Fund.
Yeah.
We just shot a commercial for it in my sunroom.
That's great.
It's wild times, but
Sure,
we're just trying to draw awareness because through the Pittsburgh Action Fund, we're able to provide nonprofits with money for childcare, healthcare, food, housing. And these things are all critical in this time of need. So, we've done some different things, but now we're trying to help with this crisis.
That's good, man. I love, one of the things that I love about the Steelers, I love about many of you guys is that you give back to the community. I love, and that's like a message that I hope that everybody hears in this is that, regardless of your platform, each and every one of us has a unique way that we can share hope. You're leveraging your platform in the NFL with the Pittsburgh Steelers to share hope and give back to the community. I'm trying to do the same thing with the platform that God has given to me. And everybody on here can do that some way, somehow, with the unique giftings that God has given to each and every person to share hope. So I just appreciate that about you, man. So let's do this, man. I always like to, part of these Real Pro Talk conversations, man, a little bit of rapid fire.
Okay.
All right. So these are short answers. Let's have some fun here. I reached out to people on Instagram and on Facebook and texted and all this. If you could ask Cam one thing, what would you ask him? And so, dude, I probably got.
Do you have to screen these questions?
No, man. I had to. Well, what's interesting is some people are just, stupid with it. But anyway, I had to screen some stuff. So here you go. This seems to be a popular one. Not from my wife this time. But what is your favorite restaurant? You and Allie's favorite.
Wait, what was
that? What are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. What is yours and Allie's favorite Pittsburgh restaurant?
Ooh, we got a couple. I think my favorite is probably Umi down in the city.
All right.
It's some good sushi. What is another one? All Familia, a really good restaurant.
All right.
And I would say Napa Prime.
Okay. That 3 solid suggestions for those who are listening right now.
Hopefully there's takeout for all of them. I don't know. If there's not, I'm sorry.
That's right. I'm sorry. Everybody just got real hungry for sushi, and now they can't get it. Yeah. All right, here we go. What are 3 things that you love about Allie?
I love her heart. Her honesty. I don't always love it, but I love it after.
Sure.
And I love. This is one thing I've even grown to love over the past year. I love the way she's walking with Christ right now. She has been on her own journey, and she's had to mature as a woman. Through her going through Bible study, she actually got involved in the women's group at Northway.
Yeah.
I think it's just centered her so much. And I don't even know if I tell her enough, but she's blossomed. She's really finding her calling, and it's just a joy to see.
She texted me last night saying that she had just finished her Rooted group with her ladies, And Northway does something called Rooted. It's a 10-week discipleship experience. And she was saying that all the ladies were like, we want to see the interview with Cam, So I love it, man. That's great. Okay, here's another one. What's one thing that you learned from your parents that you want to pass on to your kids?
That hard work doesn't beat anything. I mean, it beats everything. I think, even if you're in a privileged, spot, or if you're in a tough spot, if you work hard at something, there's rewards for it. My mom, when she became a single parent, she provided food on the table and made sure we were clothed, and we never had to worry about anything. She was a real estate agent. She busted her tail, and
Right.
Seeing my mom and dad work hard in different aspects, that's something I want to pass on to Cal, Chloe, and Kaya, just so they know, just because you're blessed now doesn't mean you don't work for stuff.
That's right.
The hard work starts when nobody's looking, and whatever you do, I want you to be successful at it. To go halfway is just not acceptable to me.
Those are good. Those are good lessons to pass on to your kids, man. So, all right, man. So let me get to wrap this down. So here we are, middle of COVID-19 still, man. This whole thing. I just want to, anything that you would want to say to anyone who's listening, wise words from Cam Hayward right now, as we begin to close it.
Yeah, I would just say, these moments will not be taken for granted. I hope everybody's healthy. If you're not, I hope you recover. But if you can, take advantage of these moments to grow. These are the quiet moments we want, where you get a chance to just talk and explore different things and explore the Lord and come closer. Whoever says they don't have time, they got time now.
That's true.
So, there's no better time than right now.
Yeah. Good, man. Well, as I kind of just close things here, I just want to say on behalf of both of us, if there's anybody who's listening right now, who has any questions about Christianity, about Jesus, about the hope of the gospel, man, direct message me, on here. If they reach out to you, man, awesome. We'd love to have those types of conversations with people, because I'll just say this is like, each and every one of us has the opportunity to share hope in some way, somehow. You're doing it through your platform. I'm trying to do it through these Instagram lives of Real Pro Talk, man. And I just appreciate that you would spend some time with me on a Wednesday night when the kids are upstairs with Allie, and she probably needs a break at this point.
She's like, okay, you can go, but just make sure you're talking to Ken. Like, right. This wasn't just a free moment. Like, I have to go back upstairs and put these rascals to bed.
There it is. Well, I appreciate you, man. You are a great husband, a great father to those kids. You are a great leader on the team. I watch it. I see it. Everybody respects you, loves you, brother. So thank you. So let me end it this way. Everybody, I've been trying to do these maybe once a week, every 10 days or so. So next week, Real Pro Talk with Ramon Foster, everybody. So I'm excited that he just agreed to it yesterday, so I'm really pumped for it. So, Cam, I love you, brother. Thank you for spending time tonight, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you too.
All right.
Great.
Yeah, that's an awesome job.
Thanks, man.
Phenomenal opportunity for you to be able to get to know the players and build relationships like that, and then to see you in that element. It brings me back to that word, Kent, platform.
Yeah.
I feel like what a cool and innovative way to. I know everything going on right now is crazy.
Yeah.
COVID-19. Sometimes my words fail me to describe all the nuance and craziness and change we're all experiencing. But yet you're leveraging this moment and what you can do and leveraging your platform.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah. So I can't believe that I get to do this, right? I mean, that's the first part of it. But I know that God has called me at this very moment to be able to, he's increased that platform to be able to share the hope of the gospel. And that's what even though the platform has changed for me, the mission has stayed the same.
It's good.
And so Erica and I, that's all we just want to love people extremely well. We've done that at Northway for years. At least we've tried to do that well, I should say.
You've done it amazingly well.
Thank you.
Yes.
And so the way that this opportunity came up, and to be able to now leverage in the middle of COVID-19, to leverage technology, I'm so grateful for it. But to also say to these guys, like, this is an opportunity for you to leverage your platform to share your faith. Everybody wants to hear about your journey to the NFL.
Sure.
Everybody wants to hear about, the seasons and all that. But this is a unique way for you to go public with your faith. And I love that opportunity that I've been able to kind of encourage these guys in.
It's so cool. I love seeing, Cam's a great guy. Love you, Cam. Thanks for doing that. But you bring out like even a more human side than we all get. Sometimes we forget that men, they're men just like us.
Yeah.
Like they're real people.
Absolutely.
They're humans. And so I love that you got to do this and have that time with them. But I guess I want to translate this a little bit.
Yeah.
Is platform always based on number of people and size?
No way.
Do you think we all have a platform?
Yeah, I think, you might want to call it circle of influence,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Platform. I think it's the people that God brings around you,
Okay.
right? So that's those who are in your home right now, those who are in your office, those who are it's the people that God brings around you.
Yep.
And then, our job, my role in this platform is to simply reproduce the character, the ways, and the mission of Jesus in them. That's it. Love them well.
Yeah.
That's what platform looks like. The people who are in proximity around you.
So I know one of the things you do in your platform as the chaplain of the Steelers is prayer.
Yeah.
You get a lot of opportunity to pray. I think we've seen you on TV, man. You're famous, right? And
I'm
just
sorry.
catch you for a moment. And
I think I broke some people's television when they
no, it's not true. Lucas asked a question. He said, Kent, what goes through your heart when you have the opportunity to lead a prayer after a game with both teams at the center of the field? So what's going through your heart other than blood? What's going through your heart and head and mind when you're praying like that? Because you're leveraging your platform, right?
Absolutely.
That's a moment where you have a captive audience of these men who they went through an incredible battle, a physical game. Like we don't have a clue how physical that game is.
Right.
So
yeah. So I would, when we gather in the middle of the field, it's an incredible privilege to be able to pray with these guys. And when you think about it, from their perspective, some of the coaches, some of the trainers, some of the players all come together in that moment.
Yep.
What they're doing is that they're honoring God with their game.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's a brotherhood that's been established. We're no longer enemies on the field.
Right.
We are brothers in Christ that are united under the banner of heaven.
That's awesome.
Right. And so in those moments when I have the opportunity to pray for those guys, and, depending on which field you're at, it's maybe a player who gets to pray, or, if no player might, I'll go for it. And we just pray for the glory of God. Right, it's not about the name on the back of the jersey. It's about God being honored. And so, oftentimes in the city of Pittsburgh, we're praying that God's name, the name of Jesus, would be lifted higher than what just took place on this field. That's
a lofty perspective.
Yeah.
Right, because we love the Steelers.
Absolutely.
And we're most worried about the score.
Yeah.
But there's a bigger story going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, the story, when you think about all those fans and what we're cheering for, you think about the cloud of witnesses who have gone before, and it's just that imagery that takes place. And when those guys bend the knee before God in heaven to be able to give him honor and glory, we're not praying, man, that, we hope we win. It's not about that.
Right.
It's about, God, we want to play in such a way that will honor you first and foremost, an audience of one, right? We pray for the brotherhood. We pray for their families. Because, I mean, guys are away from their families a lot during the season. We pray for protection. One of the things that I pray a lot, because those guys have just gone through a battle out there on the field, their bodies the next day, you know, hours after that, need healing, recovery. So, God, would you quickly recover these guys? I mean, they're the best in shape athletes of all, but man, their bodies just went through. So that's what we were praying in that moment. It's not about wins. It's not about any of that. It's about God's honor, his glory, and the brotherhood that's taken place in the NFL.
That's so cool. It's so cool you get that up close and personal view to that. And I imagine there's an unexpected emotional connection you have, right? When you're down there and you're with them and you're praying for them. Yeah. It's got to be amazing.
Oh, dude, it's every time I'm out there, it's pinch me. Like, I can't believe I'm a kid from Beaver County, man. Just straight up. Oh my goodness, that I have this opportunity to be able to bring the presence of God into the NFL locker room. I mean, to be able to see it that way, what a privilege it is. And so when it's not so much connected to, it's the Steelers.
Right.
I'm connected to these guys and their story. You know, when you peel back the layers like I'm trying to do in these Real Pro Talks, like these guys are real people. Their marriages. I mean, dude, this is why Erica and I felt such a tug. Like when you pull back and you think about the statistics in the NFL, listen to these stats, and everybody just listen to this, because this will cause you to pray for the NFL in a very different way and look at it very differently. So, dude, somewhere between 70 and 80% of NFL marriages will end in divorce.
Sheesh. You said what, 70?
70 to 80%.
Wow.
Of NFL marriages will end in divorce. That's just
I wouldn't have guessed that. I wouldn't.
And so Erica and I, like, what we hope to be able to just simply model and like be there for is just, man, we got 20 years. It's not a perfect marriage, but man, we got a good thing going. She still likes me, you know?
Erica's a saint. Erica, we love you.
Sure is. And then listen to this one. Just a little under 3 out of 4 of these young men are coming into the league without a father.
Wow.
So that explains a lot, but it also gives us a point to pray for these young men.
Sure.
Right? And
it shapes your conversation.
Yeah, and then for me, what that does is it all comes back to discipleship. The character and the ways and the mission and the love of Jesus to just exemplify to them. It's not Bible bashing. It's just, Erica and I have just simply been calling it the ministry of availability. Like, we're here for you. We're here to serve you. That no strings attached. We just want to love on you.
So you, as the chaplain of the Steelers, outside of doing chapel with the players and coaches or whoever all is there, like you said, that ministry of availability.
Yeah.
That's what we all can do.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Like whether it's online right now in coronavirus, but it's not like you carry out this whole different version of discipleship than everyone else does because you're the chaplain, right? You're just walking out in different spheres of influence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. My platform, I like to say, it's the same exact thing, just a different platform now.
Yeah.
You know, Erica and I, we, you know, working with especially the players and their wives and girlfriends and this, it's a different kind of ministry. You know, Erica and I did student ministry for 10 years. And there's a bit of that working with the players and their wives that we're now in like young adult ministry.
Sure.
And so it feels a little bit different, but it's the same.
It's awesome.
Just being available. Hey, whatever you need, we're here to serve.
Right.
We're a text away.
The ministry of availability.
Yeah.
And we all can do that.
Exactly.
And how much our world needs that. It's so important. Got another question for you.
Okay.
Dana asked, Cam talks about spiritual disciplines and how they've been a part of his life. How can people grow? Here's the question. How can people grow in spiritual disciplines during this time?
Yeah, I mean, you heard him
say that. Yeah, Cam
right at
pointed
the end of the
pointed it
interview.
out.
He was like, "Don't tell me you don't have time."
Right.
Right. And I love what he said, to try something new when it comes to your relationship with the Lord.
Yep.
And I think that that's something true. One of the things that I've been encouraging, because Erica and I, we've had to shift our ministry with them. We would have been doing like in-person Bible studies with coaches, and then coaches' wives. Erica has,
Right.
them, and
Right.
been face-to-face, but we've switched it all on Zoom.
Right.
And one of the things that I've been encouraging these guys is to try something, prayer journaling.
Okay.
Because it's been something that's been huge in my life, and so I've just simply put that out to them.
How do you prayer journal?
So it's, God, these are the concerns of my heart right now, and I just need to cast these upon you, and I write it. I don't just think it, I don't just say it, I write it. And the importance of it is this, and this is a part of my calling as the Steelers chaplain. When I was prayer journaling for years, I'm talking about years, God was doing something in me, and I could just tell something was fussed up inside of me. There was a concern, there was a burden, and I just kept writing, God, I'm burdened for it. I don't know what you're doing, something's going on.
Wow.
And I wrote it out, and because I wrote it out, when that answer came, I was able to then circle it and say, here's the answer for years of prayer journaling of what God has done. And I have record of it. And I can tell that story now because it was legitimate, like prayer journaling about it.
That's amazing.
In fact, one of the stories that I have is during a rooted prayer experience is when I was at kind of my, the moment where I had to release it all, and I wrote it down in my prayer journal. God, would you just be clear? I need to hear from you. And that's the moment, as soon as I closed my prayer journal, that I got the call from Mike Tomlin to offer me the position. And it was that and so I wrote the date. I just got a call. This just happened. And it was the answer to the prayer for 2 years that I had been waiting for.
2 years.
Crazy.
I love that you shared that, because some of us, we're right now, we want to get to the end of the story, and it's still wait time. But yet the payoff is definitely worth the wait.
Yeah.
Right? Prayer, journaling, I love it. Practical. You are a master. I've seen you grow in the last year. You drop little advertisements like I've never seen before. You mentioned Rooted. You mentioned the ways and character of Jesus. I think that's a little lion share work right there. A little Dave Buring. Shout out to Dave. And then little Athletes in Action at the beginning. I love it. Smooth, bro.
Dude, if I can just drop a live, work, and play, man, I get points.
This is like, what is it? It's not Pardon the Interruption. What's it before? Where Tony Reale, is that his name?
That's
he
right.
gives you the points and everything like that.
And he'll mute you if he
around the horn.
Around the horn.
Yeah, there it is. So, hey, it's been fun. I love seeing what God's doing through you. I love what you were able to connect with Cam about that quote he said about if my life were a movie, God would be the producer.
God would be my producer, yeah.
So good, so rich.
I've been chewing on that because it was, in our pre-conversation that he told me that, and I was like, wow, that is so good.
It's a profound quote, and now's the time where we can lean into that and ask God to be the producer more and more of our lives. Kent, thanks so much. I love you. I appreciate all that you're doing. I'm excited to see more of the future of this whole chaplaincy and what comes of it. Keep doing the Real Pro Talks. Sweet idea. I love the Steeler background.
Yeah,
I mean, you're like,
I'm trying, man.
The real deal.
I'm trying.
That's it.
So
it's
you
good.
should see the at-home setup. It's hilarious. I got my laptop on top of a garbage can so that it's high enough with my phone on my laptop.
We don't need to know that. We just all we see is what the camera shows us.
So good.
Appreciate you,
dude. Thank you for having me on here. And Cam, I love you, man. Allie, love you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Love that you're a part of Northway and that you would do that last night so that people can hear about your faith journey. So, Dave, love you, man.
Thanks
love
for leveraging your platform.
You're doing a fantastic job as our lead pastor.
Wow.
And it's just so fun growing up with you to be able to be doing this with you right now. Oh, it's great.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, we love y'all. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This weekend, part 2 of our series called Asking for a Friend. We're going to tackle another one of those questions that nobody wants to really ask, but we really deep down want to know the answers to. So tune in this Saturday, 5 o'clock, or Sunday at 10 a.m. Until then, be safe, be healthy. We love you. Take care, Northway.
Bye, everybody.